Okay, traditional higher education as we know it is going to go away. That's right, I said it. Um, we'll have a quick little discussion about that right now. Welcome, colleagues. I'm George Sloan, founder and dean of myforduniversity.com. We're not accredited, we don't grant degrees, and we don't take 4 years of your life and charge you hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, we believe in learning knowledge and skills fast and applying it faster and getting that return quicker. So, why do I feel that traditional higher education as we know it is going to go away? Well, there's a number of reasons. Um, Partly because a lot of folks are starting to realize, number one, and this has been kind of brewing in the last, 2 to 3 years, but I've looked into it. It goes back almost a decade or more, where people have started to question the value of these things. And what's happening is, and COVID made things go down a little bit, but there was already a declining trend, and it not hasn't fully recovered. People were starting to move away and from college and university alternatives and degrees and going towards other viable alternatives that were able to be able to gotten quickly and be able to gotten at a reasonable rate and provided a return and a nice lifestyle for folks that partake in it. For example, the trades, buying a small business, starting a little business. There's so many other alternatives that are better. Why else do I think it's going away? Well, a lot of companies, big Fortune 500 companies, and even smaller ones, they've started to perk up and realize that degrees and pedigrees and credentials are not that important. What really matters to them at the end of the day is, can you solve problems? Can you provide solutions? Can you get results? Can you get positive outcomes? Can you manage people? These are skills, and you either have them or you don't. In fact, a lot of these companies are starting to go back to the old way of doing things. Years and years ago, 100 years ago, they had their own sort of apprenticeship programs and their own internal training programs, and they're all starting to return to that. Part of it is, they don't like the bad habits or lack of skills that they're seeing in some of these college graduates, even master's graduates. They don't like what they're seeing. So rather than try to undo bad habits, they're trying to invite people in who at least have a base foundation of knowledge and skills and add to those knowledge and skills, upskill them, stack the skills for them, and get them moved along. So you're going to see a lot more of that because at the end of the day, you can either do it or you can't. I always talk about the idea that we live in a highly, highly dynamic environment. It is not static like it used to be for dad or granddad. It is a situation where you constantly have to be reinventing, upskilling, uploading, just like your iPhone. I've made that analogy before. Your iPhone gets updates and uploads all the time. You should be doing the same thing. Got to keep those skills sharp, and going and getting a one-time degree isn't going to cut it anymore because things change so quick. So what else is going on? There are a lot of, because of the fact that folks aren't choosing to go to schools anymore because in many cases they can't even afford it. Uh, a lot of folks are starting to realize that it just doesn't make sense. And some of these schools are seeing declining enrollments to the point where they've built this industrial complex infrastructure and they're running into the problem of they're not even meeting their fixed costs. They have certain built-in baseline cash flows that they need and they're not getting them. So what's happening? Well, there's closures, there's mergers, there's consolidations. uh, you read about it every few months. There's more and more, especially it's accelerated in the last 4 to 5 years. It's there. I'll give you another reason, and this is the one that most people are probably guessing that I've been waiting to bring, but I saved that best for last. um, while I don't believe that AI is going to take everyone's job, I think people who know how to use AI are probably going to get most of the jobs. And AI is kind of deleting the need for traditional higher education. Personally, I think that between AI and certain other approaches, and I'll detail those in a second, you can be getting yourself a college education, a 4 year degree, or a 2 years master's, or a 4 to 6 year PhD. You can get them with a number of different tools and techniques that are available. And one of the biggest ones that helps provide that is AI. I don't suggest using AI as your primary approach. I recommend using it as a tool that's in the toolkit that supplements and complements everything that you're doing. Let me share with you real quick what I think you might want to consider based on the fact that the traditional bricks and mortar higher education campuses are going to be going away and changing. There'll still be some because again, some professions and some degree programs, there are required situations and there's ones where it's pretty much you're best served by spending some time. Uh, but that is typically confined to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's confined to law. It's confined to medicine. It's confined to education where you must have certain degrees and requirements met. But for most everything else, you'd be better served by creating your own self-curated programs. And the way that I recommend doing it and have done it myself, because I'm constantly upgrading my toolkit, so to speak. Um, you want to look at books. You want to look at courses. You want to listen to podcasts, watch videos. You want to consider certifications, micro certifications, mini courses, other forms of credentialing that aren't, 4-year commitments and hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are many of these things that you can do super quick. I would also recommend, I say it all the time, start a small side hustle business. One of the best business educations you can get is having a little business where you learn what some of the problems are, how to deal with customers, how to attract customers. There's a whole thing that just by doing that one thing, you're going to get an MBA degree, whether you like it or not, if you stick with it. I would also say that a lot of folks should be looking at going into the trades. They should be looking at going into small business. They should be looking at becoming freelancers. There are quite a few people that are able to make nice livings by providing solutions to people's problems. Solutions that they don't need someone on staff for all the time, but will hire when the need arises. And all of these things are alternatives because, again, I think what's going to happen is people are going to start to realize that by self-curating their education and sitting down and looking at what you need as you need it. Another analogy I love, I'm a movie buff. I love the idea of the Matrix getting uploads. Plug in, seconds later, I know how to fly a helicopter. I know Kung Fu. You know, these are, it won't happen that fast, unfortunately, at least not yet. But these are things that you can do. I am a big, big believer. You can go into a weekend with a goal in mind. If you do certain things during the weekend, do a little learning, do a little applying, and come Monday, you will come out a different person and you will have a new set of skills. I've done it time and time again. I've gone and pulled certifications in weekends. I'm building programs to help folks on a weekend. There is magic in, especially a rainy weekend. Plow through a book, watch a bunch of courses, and as you start doing it, you're going to recognize the fact that there are other things you want to learn, so you can take deep dives. So instead of going down rabbit holes of people dancing or watching kittens, um, go down some rabbit holes where you're expanding your knowledge, skills, and abilities, and apply it immediately. So traditional higher education is going to be a thing of the past. Already is. People, not everyone realizes it yet. And these other alternative approaches, they are the here and now and the future. You want to learn more about this kind of stuff? Please come and visit us at myforduniversity.com, where you can learn it fast and apply it faster. We'll see you there. Thank you.